Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Relocation Rundown. I'm Aaron,
I'm Geoff.
and we are the Aaron and Geoff team at Compass, your Bronx residential real estate experts.
We are having a wonderful guest today. That was a weird way of phrasing it.
That was-
We have a wonderful guest today, talking about one of the best cities that I've ever visited. Sorry to all the other ones we visited, but I really like Denver. Rhianon here from Denver, Colorado.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to talk about Denver and why I like it.
So, do you want to give a little intro about who you are and how you got to Denver?
Yeah. So, Rhiannon, as you guys both said, so also at Compass, I have a team of 5 agents, so that's fun. I originally came to Denver. I guess it's now been 20 years, which is crazy to say out loud. Time is really flying, but came out here originally for college. So I swam at the University of Denver.
Oh, cool.
Came from New Mexico, a town nobody knows about, but then have not really found a reason to leave Denver and can't find another city that we talk about it every now and again, but I can't ever, I'm like, nothing's really better for me. So here we are.
What has kept you in Denver? What about Denver do you love so much?
My favorite things about Denver are the weather. I think if you like the seasons, the weather is just awesome here. We get so much sunshine. Our winters are so mild. Fall's awesome. And then just the access to all the outdoor activities. I mean, the mountains are pretty much our playground. If traffic's not too bad, you can get up to Bracken, get a day of skiing in and come home and stuff like that. So I think
One thing that stood out to me when we went to Denver, and maybe it's just the New Yorker in a new place, but it felt pretty empty. It wasn't like the packed city feel that I'm used to.
I guess there was nobody really on the sidewalks.
Right.
Is what he means. It's not like a walkable city, or
not
is
a walkable city.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So what's it like living there? What's your day-to-day like?
So my day-to-day, you drive here, that's pretty normal. I currently live in one of our more walkable parts of town, kind of a little outside of Rhino, which is kind of one of our up-and-coming neighborhoods. So that's a little bit walkable, but most of the time it's hop in the car in the morning, go to the gym, shower, go to the office, drive there, then, it's not like I'm always so jealous. I know when I met Aaron in Chicago, I walked everywhere. I was doing these mile walks because I'm like, I can't do this in Denver. Nothing's as close. But because we're not as walkable, I guess the city doesn't feel, it's more of a big town versus your New York feel, which is, it has its pluses and its minuses. It's quieter, but you do got to get in the car and go, which
I want to talk a little bit about the climate change also between the New Mexico area and Colorado, because I would assume from the Southwest to the Mile High City, you'd have a very different kind of climate experience. What's that like?
So interesting enough, it really isn't that different from the part of New Mexico I grew up in. If you get further south, kind of south of Albuquerque, you'll get more kind of that deserty, kind of Tucson, Phoenix, not near as hot as they are, but kind of more of that desert feel. But the town I grew up in, elevation was actually about 1,500 feet higher than Denver. So temp-wise, I mean, and then Santa Fe too, I know more people are familiar with that. I think Santa Fe is almost 2,000 feet higher than Denver actually is. So temp-wise, we're really similar to Denver. It's more, New Mexico doesn't get the snow like Denver does. But I mean, Denver, as long as the sun comes out, the snow melts. So it doesn't stick around here like the Midwest does. We get blizzards and stuff like that, but after a couple of days with the sun shining, it goes away. So
yeah, you must have some strong lungs to have grown up even higher of an elevation than Denver. Yeah. I feel like when we went to Colorado, we needed air canisters.
Well, we needed that more when we went to Estes Park.
I mean, Denver was pretty bad too.
Or sea
For
level.
us, we're literally at sea level.
And that's where I grew up at sea level also. I've always kind of lived at sea level. You've been in Denver for about 20 years. I mean, it must have changed quite a bit in your time there. What's some of the biggest shifts that you think you've seen in your 20 years in Denver?
It's kind of the population increase. Like when I moved out here, like I think we were still just a really big cow town. And now it's kind of really grown up. And now you're seeing, I mean, a lot better restaurants, and, you know, the food scene's gotten a lot better since I moved out here. Some of the downsides since when I moved out here is traffic. So I'm still late everywhere because I think everything's 20 minutes away, and it's no longer 20 minutes away. Everything is like 30 to 35 minutes away now, which, I mean, compared to your LA and your New York and Chicago, our traffic is probably really not that bad. But I just don't think our infrastructure was totally ready for how many people we got in such a short period of time. 2020 was like a big migration.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Definitely.
I mean, COVID made a lot of people move, especially from bigger cities into smaller big cities. Where are you seeing most of the people coming to Denver from?
We get a lot of California has come out this way, Texas, but now I kind of feel like they're kind of going back and forth between Colorado and Texas. That's kind of a big market back and forth. Chicago, we got a lot of people from. There's a big chunk of people that I think originally came from like the East Coast too. A lot of New Yorkers and people just really wanting more mild climate.
What kind of industries are in Denver that people are coming for to work?
So I feel like we got a lot of real like remote workers when all of our big migration happened. And I think people really loved coming to Denver because it was so, like, if they're still working on the East Coast or they're working on the West Coast, the flight either, you know, to New York or to LA or to Chicago, super easy. So I think that's why a lot of people picked kind of Denver. But I mean, there's a pretty big tech population. I feel that came out here. A lot of them kind of up in Boulder. I mean, everybody, I feel like, who could work remote but still needed access to either coast. We have a lot of those type of people who came out here as well.
What makes Denver an intricate or complex market for a buyer, right? What are the things that maybe somebody coming from another market wouldn't be familiar with? So an example we often give on this podcast is in New York, we have co-ops.
Mm-hmm.
You're an attorney state. So those two things are not always things that people expect coming from other parts of the country.
I think kind of with the nice thing with Colorado is we're not an attorney state. So that makes things a little bit easier for buyers, but our contracts are very like buyer heavy, which is really nice. So they kind of favor the buyer, and there's a lot more ways to kind of get out of the contracts than I feel like I've heard about in a lot of other states. So it makes it a little harder on the sellers. Here, we're really kind of at the mercy of the buyers. I do know a lot of people kind of moving out here. There's a big price difference between kind of our detached and attached market. People really are coming for Colorado for that single family. They want some space, they want some land. That market always the inventory is super low still. Oh, haven't moved enough in my office, light went off. But yeah, I think that's kind of the big thing. And then some of the things with like inspections that I think people aren't super used to here is we have radon, which is kind of naturally occurring in our market. So that's kind of things people are like, what is that? What is that gas? Super easy to mitigate. It's like a system that costs $1,500 to install. So not a huge thing.
Get terrified because they read on the internet some statistics and then they go running somewhere else.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we've had that. What advice would you give to buyers who have to relocate to Denver? Like, what are the first things they should think about before moving or deciding where to live in the Denver?
Yeah. I mean, I think something super cool about Denver is it has so many of these kind of like smaller pockets and neighborhoods that have really different vibes. So I think what I always do with my relocation clients is I like to, pick a house in kind of each neighborhood, go see it, kind of see what your money can get you, because it's very different between different neighborhoods. And then also kind of, they all have like their little downtown retail, cute little area. So kind of drive through those and just kind of really figure out where people's vibes match within the city. So I really like to do that. There's so many. And even our suburbs here are great. And a lot of them have little old town, downtown areas that are super fun. So it's just kind of figuring out, really narrowing in what you're looking for, what your vibe is. If you're relocating here with kids, really figuring out the school districts that you want to be in or how far away you're willing to commute to kind of get to that school district. Because that is the big thing is you're driving here. So really committing to how much you want to drive to beat places.
That makes sense. And what kind of average price point are these buyers usually looking at?
So I think our median single family for the metro area, so that's kind of our big 6 counties that kind of surround Denver. I think average kind of median single family home, you're probably looking at 700,000. If you're willing to kind of do an attached property, that's probably closer to like between 4 and 500 that you can get into something. But we have a really, just depending on what you're looking for, a really wide range of homes. I think kind of most families kind of move in here if you want a single family home, or you're going to start looking at probably that $1 million price point if you want a decent size house. Starter homes probably you can get still for 5 to 6.
And that's gone up a lot, right? In the past 5-6 years?
Yeah, crazy.
What was it before COVID?
Before COVID, you could probably, these like $1 million homes that people are buying, could probably get them for 7. Yeah.
It was so insane.
It's so insane. Yeah, we've started to look too, and it's like, I mean, even sometimes with these $1 million homes, I mean, you're putting work into them.
Yeah.
I mean, years ago, I was like, I'll never own $1 million home. That's crazy. And then you're like,
Now you have to.
well, that's just what they cost.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a similar situation where I think when we moved into the neighborhood we were in 10 years ago, the average price point for what we were wanting was around $850. It's now closer to 1.1. And by the time we're ready to jump on it, I'm sure it'll be 1.5. So, it's just the nature of real estate. And I guess to that end, what's inventory like for you guys right now? Is it still so sparse, or is there actually like some inventory out there?
We actually have some inventory. I think right now we have the most inventory in the metro area that we've had on the market since, I don't know, probably before 2015. It's still not a ton, but it's still low. I mean, buyers have options right now in Denver. I mean, your unicorn properties, the ones that are perfectly priced, perfectly remodeled, those ones are still going with multiple offers. But there's deals out there now, and the sellers they're motivated. Most of the people moving right now are, the 5Ds going on in their life. So they're moving for a reason.
So funny you mentioned the 5Ds because we just had our sales meeting with our team, with our agents, and we were just telling them about, well, how many Ds do we have now?
21.
21? We got a big list.
It started with the 5Ds, but then we made a game out of it and just kept adding more D. We'll share our list with you.
Perfect. I need to expand.
What kind of average days on market are we looking at? Is it like 1 week and we're done, or are we 30 days?
Average is probably about 30 days now.
Okay. That's still fast for us.
Yeah. So
I mean, we're like 95 days generally.
Wow.
Yeah. But we're dealing with co-ops.
It's a slow market.
It's like mostly apartments where there's
vertical inventory.
Yeah, where there's like 10 of the same apartment and you just wait for the one you want.
Yeah.
If you miss out on 2D, well, 3D or 1D is going to be on the market soon enough, and if not, the H line is the flip. So you have options in New York. I guess to that end, are there apartments in the Denver area? Is there like apartment style living, condo style?
Yep. So we have condos kind of primarily in downtown is kind of that. And then it's kind of the little neighborhoods that kind of just right directly outside of downtown, you'll find some condos. And if you are a condo buyer right now in Colorado, you are going to get a steal because they are not moving at all. Yeah.
Well, maybe that's interesting for an investor as well,
Yep.
right?
Can you rent them out?
You can rent them out. Some of them here with our condos, you just have to really look at the HOA guidelines. Some of them do allow short term under 30 days. It's pretty rare where they're going to let you do it short term, but there's some out there.
Like a full term lease, like a 12-month.
Yeah, they can do. Yeah, 12 terms are usually fine. The only sometimes when we run into issues is maintaining warrantability. So if a condo complex, they like to keep it, I can't remember the exact percentage, but some of them like to maintain that warrantability to make lending a little bit easier. So yeah,
like only allowing a certain number of rentals.
Yeah, that way for all the loan programs. So that sometimes there'll be some where you have to get on a waiting list to be able to rent your unit out, stuff like that. But most of the buildings here, 12-month leases at least.
All right, listeners, you heard it here first. If you're looking for a good rental investment opportunity, the Denver condo market might be a good place to look for a steal right now.
Their days on market are in closer to what you guys are experiencing in New York. So, and a lot of some of them are investors that are getting rid of their units. We've just seen insurance costs go up. So I think that's one of our reasons that they're hanging around so long, but.
Yeah. Let's talk new construction for a little bit. The new construction happening in the Denver area, what kind of housing stock are they building? Are they building single family? They're building townhouses? Like what's coming?
Mainly single family. Most of it is kind of on the fringe of the city. So they're building, kind of just increasing our sprawl a lot. And most people want the single family living here. So that's primarily what they're building. There are some communities that are kind of building a little bit more mixed use styles. So they'll have your single families, they'll have some condos, apartments, and then some townhomes and stuff like that. So they're trying to mix it in and mix it up a little bit more. But I still feel like most of it's single family.
Now, do you only work in Denver, or are you in like Aurora, Colorado Springs? Like where else are you?
So I'll go down to the Springs, and I also have an agent on my team now. She works primarily like the Springs. So excited to refer that business. But I mean, the Springs is only an hour and a half from Denver. So I grew up in New Mexico, so I had to drive 2 hours to get anywhere decent. So I'm like, oh, as long as I am within a 2-hour bubble, I'm fine. But I'll go up to northern Colorado, so like Fort Collins, Loveland.
Some of those I prefer to take listings I can walk to if I can help it.
I'm so jealous of that.
Within the neighborhood is my preference.
Yeah. I mean, 2 hours from us is so far away.
That's why I like people like, oh, do you want to take a listing in Brooklyn? I'm like, no.
Like even that's too far away. That's like an hour from us.
No way. Queens is too far. So,
but we're also showing all the time. Like you guys probably have lock boxes.
We have lock boxes, yeah.
Yeah,
we have to do what we feel like in this market. The way to do it is to be at the showings as the listing agent to really sell the home to the buyers. So it's just a different kind of structure to our time. So going an hour and a half to try and show it is just like not going to work.
What's one thing you wish more people knew about Denver?
That the weather is so mild. Everybody thinks it's crazy out here in the winter. And I'm like, it's really not. Maybe I shouldn't be saying everybody who lives here is going to hate me because that's what they'll like. They're like, just tell everybody the winter's horrible so people stop moving.
Well, I do think of Denver as if it's like feet of snow is like because I think of it as like skiing area.
But no, we're like at the base. Like we're really the start of, I guess, the Midwest and the plains. So.
Where do you vacation when you're in Denver, right? Like for us, we go out to the Hamptons, we go
to the Catskills,
like
the
where
Poconos.
I think I was talking to somebody else who was moving here about something I love so much is that we're so centrally located in the country that we can really go anywhere. But a lot of times if you're driving places, you'll do long weekends. I like to go up to the mountains. Buena Vista is a really cool area, not super resort style, but you can, in the summers, you can do some like whitewater rafting, has really good hiking and views and stuff. I'm one of the crazy ones because I don't mind driving. Love to go drive down to Telluride, which is like a 6-hour drive. But I mean, even like you can go to Santa Fe from Denver in 5 hours. So that's a long weekend getaway that a lot of people like to do, or Taos if they want to get out of Colorado.
Crazy that Santa Fe is closer than Telluride.
Yeah.
You ski or snowboard?
I snowboard.
You snowboard. What's your favorite mountain to go to?
Locally, it's probably Copper.
Okay.
That's probably my favorite local one.
And locally means what?
Locally means like our 70 corridor. So it's usually like if there's no traffic, you could probably get to all of these mountains within 2 hours.
Okay.
So Icon Pass for people who've that. Copper's my favorite. My Epic Pass people. I really like Beaver Creek. Not everybody likes Beaver Creek, but it's kind of our furthest one from Denver. So people get lazy and they stop at like, you'll hit, Breck and Keystone and Vail and all that stuff first. So people stop. So then you get to Beaver Creek and it's empty and they give you cookies. There's little like old ladies who baked chocolate chip cookies and they're just handing them out at the end of the day. It's great.
I mean, that'll get me to go there too.
Yeah.
When we're driving, Aaron's like, "Oh, it's a DoubleTree. Do you want to stop?"
They got the cookies, man. So what was I gonna say? I feel like everyone in Colorado has their outdoor activity. I assume yours is skiing and snowboarding. Do you have like a summer or a springtime outdoor activity you like? Are you a hiker?
I am not a hiker. I get so bored. I have like a 2-hour workout. Like I swam in college. I'm like, get me in and get me out. I'm not one of the crazy 14 hikers. A coworker just did all of them. And I'm like, you're nuts.
That's crazy. So that's the 14ers, for those who don't know. Those are like all the tallest mountains in the Rockies?
Yeah, there's some that are taller, but they're all with peaks at least like 14,000 feet that you can hike. So I can't remember how many are in Colorado. There might be like 14 or 15. I'll have to ask her. But yeah, I'm like, it's like 8-hour day of hiking. I'm like, no.
Yeah, no.
I'm more of a nature walker.
Yeah.
When we visited Denver, we went from Denver up to Boulder and then up to Estes Park and got to enjoy the Rockies. And Aaron got to stay at the Stanley Hotel and made us stay in the haunted rooms.
I'm a big Shining fan, so staying in the hotel was like, I had to do it.
Did there any ghosts come out?
He didn't sleep that night.
I did not sleep. So no ghosties came for me. The lights were on.
I slept fine. And I'm the chicken, but I was like, you know what? At this point, ghosts come get me.
But listen, they took us to
the haunted tour.
Yeah, we went on the haunted tour, of course. And they took us to their like concert hall, I guess.
And down to the green room.
And we went down to the green room and they had us like stand in there and they were like, oh, this is like one of the more haunted parts of the complex or whatever. And then the door slammed behind us.
And, I come from a technical theater background. So as everyone's leaving, I'm looking at this door. All right, where's the gimmick? Come on. Went to theater camp and did magic.
I can find one.
No, it was freaking weird. I could not find any kind of a justification for why this door just slammed.
So, ghosts are real.
Yeah, it was weird.
It's a cool hotel, though.
Yeah, no, super cool. Super cool. And the town was really cool.
That drive up to the top where we both suffocated.
Yeah, we almost
suffocated. Yeah, we needed the canned air. Because you take the drive, was it Breakneck Road or whatever it was or something?
No, it's Long Ridge Road, Trail Road, something like that. It's the road that goes all around the park. And
it goes to like a crazy like 22,000 or something stupid like that.
Yeah, the alpine level where it's like permafrost and
like there are no trees because there's not enough oxygen for the trees.
Well, that's like my thing with hiking. I'm like, you better get me to like a really good view. But most of the 14ers, you're above tree line. So it's just like empty tops of mountains. And I'm like,
okay, which was really cool.
Yeah. But I'm like, once you do one, I'm like, they all look the same to me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking this time to chat with us and tell us about your home. Before we let you go, can you kind of one more time tell everyone where they can find you, how they get in touch if they need more information about your market?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. It's just at Rhianon.Schuman, or you can email me at Rhianon.Schuman@compass.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
So much fun.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Geoff.
And this has been the Relocation Rundown. We'll see you next time.
See you soon. Bye.